Hey everybody, this is Teacher Mike, and this is a video message for Canadians. I think that Canadians are the ideal VIP Kid teachers, and here's why. For Canadians that are doing something similar to what I'm doing, as far as traveling and living in other places in the world, there's nothing much better than what VIP Kid is offering. The reasons are VIP Kid is incorporated in Hong Kong, so it's an overseas company that's paying you, and they're paying you a wage as a consultant. So the way the tax code works, as I understand it, you should always check with your accountant before you act on anything. If you are a Canadian citizen and you live overseas, or you have permanent residency overseas, or you spend a certain amount of time overseas every year, and it's less than what Americans have to do to prove this status. I think it's maybe even only 6 to 9 months overseas. Then you do not need to pay taxes on money that you make overseas. If you've completely checked out of the Canadian tax system, and there's some forms to do that, I do believe you need to take care of your own health care at that point. But if you're traveling around the world, not just 2 months, but you're living in this place, or you're always on the go, and you work for this Hong Kong company teaching, you get to keep what you make. I think that's awesome. Americans have a somewhat similar um, setup if they are really living full time in another country. In fact, it doesn't apply to me. I'm in the U.S. all the time. But if you spent more than 11 months a year in another country, and you had permanent residency and spent, I think it's 9 or more months in another country other than the U.S., then you get up to $100,000 in wages only, not stock trades or dividends or bank interest, but just cash that's given to you as a wage, similar to VIP Kid, from a foreign entity, so not a U.S. based company, but it could be a branch of a multinational like IBM. It could be working on an oil rig overseas, and you spend all your time overseas. You're just working offshore. That sometimes falls into it. But in this case, it would be a Hong Kong company, VIP Kid, paying you as you live abroad, as you're checked out of the system. And the point is, for Canadians, this is much easier to reach. Now, if I qualified, that'd be awesome. Up to $100,000. I don't think I'll be making that much with VIP Kid, anytime soon. So it's all within that allotment. But for Canadians, as I understand it, and always do your homework, there's no limit. It can be, whatever wages you're making overseas. Once you are a non-resident of Canada, you're golden. And VIP Kid, and that combined with the fact that they're looking for North American accents, and for Asian people, the difference between the way a Canadian speaks and an American speaks is um, they don't know the difference. It's unintelligible. For most Americans, it's the same way. Maybe people living close to Canada or Canadians can pick up on that much more. They're much more intuitive about that. But for a Chinese student, an 8-year-old Chinese student in Beijing, no. So you're really the only other country that is eligible to work for VIP Kid, because strong accents from Ireland or Australia, that's not that. They want North America. That means US or Canada. Jump on that. And if you're leaving Canada during the winter months and spending 6 months abroad, you're a snowbird, and you've thought it through, and you said, okay, I can get this really good international insurance to cover me while I'm traveling. And I've got some other incomes here that it just benefits me to be a non-resident of Canada and skip the revenue service stuff. Then think about VIP Kid, because it's going to be another form. It's going to be a wage form of income that you can just take to the bank and enjoy your time traveling. So I highly encourage Canadian citizens to apply for VIP Kid. If you have any questions, comment below. Thank you.